Right now, I'm not sure if there's anyone out there who's really expecting the upcoming live action Snow White to do any good. Just look at the like to dislike ratio on the first trailer. It can give you an idea about what people feel about this movie. You can see it has 100,000 likes to 1.4 million dislikes, and this was posted 4 months ago out of 11 million views. So things aren't looking too good. And then they released a second trailer for this movie, and the reception to that has actually been worse than what we saw with this one. And with the amount of money that they spent on it, it's looking like this is going to be another the Marvels situations when it comes to Disney, and likely to lose hundreds of millions of dollars for the studio. This article I have pulled up from that Park Place is talking about some of the latest news coming out for the latest trailer from this movie. Disney Snow White trailer dislike ratio sets a shocking new record. Disney Snow White trailer has set all the wrong records. The YouTube video promoting the live action remake of Disney's original animated classic has earned a record setting dislike ratio in the wake of star Rachel Zegler's unhinged public meltdowns. The ratio eclipsed those of the top 40 most disliked videos on YouTube history. As of the writing, viewers have given the film a staggering 727,000 dislikes compared to 28,000 likes. Actually doesn't have it there, but I got it pulled up right here anyway. So as of the time of recording, it's actually a little bit worse. I mean, they have 29,000 likes, but 734,000 dislikes. Now, just to clarify, this isn't saying this is the most disliked video in YouTube history or anything like that. They're just talking about the ratio, and there is kind of a gray area on what counts, because if a person uploads a video, it gets one view and it's disliked, well, that's 100% dislike ratio. So obviously this isn't necessarily talking about stuff like that, but videos that have a certain number of views, I would say for this one, it has 5.8 million views. And it was posted just over a week ago. So this is probably the biggest dislike ratio for a video of this size, but they mentioned it in an article, so I decided to pull it up. This is the list of the most disliked videos in YouTube history, and you can see the dislike ratio here. YouTube Rewind for 2018, that holds the title of the most disliked video at over 20 million dislikes for it, but 86% of them are negative, which means there's around 14% or so that are positives, and you can see the ratio that they have here. I believe it does mention it in the article about the worst ratio on this list right here. Let me see if I can find it. This one right here, Sad Act 2 trailer. So it has a just under a 95% dislike ratio, but this Snow White movie seems to have eclipsed that one. In a recent video on YouTube channel, Hollywooder Scooper WDW Pro broke down the trailers like the dislike ratio, comparing it to the top 40 dislike videos in YouTube history. Pro revealed that the trailer has 96.29 dislike ratio, which has since increased to 96.3 in the 3 hours since Pro's video released. And now just looking at it, it's touched worse than even that, because there's been more dislikes than likes. Like I said, what does it say here? 28,000 likes to 727,000 dislikes. It's 29,000 likes to 734,000 dislikes. So it's even worse ratio than what this article is saying. Pro revealed that the trailer has a 96.29% dislike ratio, which has since increased to 96.3% in the 3 hours since Pro's video release. Note that Zegler's trailer doesn't fall into the top 40 because videos receive far more dislikes before YouTube changed its policy and began hiding dislike numbers from the general public. And that's another thing to take away from this too. Because I have a browser extension which allows me to actually see the dislike ratio on this. But before that came about, when people could see that publicly without having to do a browser extension, well, then there would be a lot more people brigading the videos like this, just kind of jumping on the bandwagon when it getting a lot of pushback and a lot of heat. People would go on to just a dislike. We don't see a whole lot of that anymore. What we see, I think, is more, maybe this is the intention behind it, but more of a genuine reaction from people. So when you see something like this, when people are disliking it and you can't even see the ratio like this, it suggests that the sentiment for this movie is overwhelmingly negative. And I've talked about this before, about how this is a movie that doesn't seem to be catering to anyone. Longtime Disney fans don't like it because it's a deviation from the source material. Feminists don't like it because of the way they're going about trying to push their message. People who are against DEI and woke stuff in movies don't like it because that's the path that they're going for when it comes to this one. So I'm expecting the dislike ratio just to kind of be reflected in the box office, because it really does seem like the sentiment surrounding this movie is overwhelmingly negative. And when we see movies that kind of carry this animosity before they're even released, when the trailers are released, it usually does suggest that the movie is going to fail, especially if they have such a huge budget like this one that they need to basically make $1 billion in order to be considered a success. The closest ratio to Zegler's dislike disaster was the Sadek 2 trailer at 94.86%. This puts the Snow White trailer dislike ratio well above the most reviled videos in YouTube history. We don't know yet what this will translate into in terms of people going to the theater or not. Pro said, in fact, there is a distinct possibility at this time that because of this number of dislikes, that Snow White might actually get the rubbernecking effect that you see on the interstate when there's a wreck, but it's off to the side and it's not bad, and it shouldn't slow down traffic, but it does. And why does it slow down traffic? Because people slow down to look at it. Snow White is like a roadkill at this point. People are going to perhaps go to the theater to see just how bad it could be. I disagree. I mean, I understand what he's saying, and that's a possibility for this movie, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think a lot of people are just going to maybe wait. If they really don't like this movie, or they really don't want this movie to succeed, they're going to wait and see how bad it is and maybe just kind of laugh about it afterwards. Perhaps they might check it out when it comes to streaming. We saw that previously. Madam Web, when that came out, that was obviously really disliked, and a lot of people didn't go to see that in theaters, but it was really popular when it came out. I believe on Netflix, it was in one of their top 10 lists for its premiere week on Netflix, and that's because people are like, okay, this movie's supposed to be really bad. I'll wait for it to come out on streaming before I check it out then. I think we're going to see that when it comes to this movie. So after it's left theaters and it goes on Disney Plus, I think we're going to hear something about like, oh, look how popular it is on Disney Plus. It has so many millions of views within its first week, and that's probably going to be the reason. But views on Disney Plus doesn't necessarily translate into money in Disney's pockets unless it's new subscribers, which I don't think they're really going to bring in a lot of new subscribers on Disney Plus because of this movie. Zegler has sparked controversy since Disney cast her as its first princess, drawing ire from longtime fans for criticizing the original film, in which she essentially called the beloved classic sexist and claimed the prince was a stalker. It kind of what I was saying about how a lot of longtime Disney fans are upset about this, and when you've upset the Disney adults, well, that's pretty much your bread and butter right there. So you upset them, and I don't think they're going to be showing up to support your movie, even if they don't want to see a Disney movie fail. They're not going to do anything about this one because simply Rachel Zegler is a very unlikable person, and they've tried so long to rehabilitate her character and her image. There's been a number of puff pieces in the media about her, and she did her quote unquote apology the last time she said something really egregious. I think it was a result of the election. But still, I mean, I think it's all too little too late. At this point, people are just like, let this movie fail and be done with it. And some people might come at this and say like, well, this is just people who hate Disney and that's why it's being disliked. And if that's the case, then we wouldn't be seeing success with other Disney properties. Moana 2 right now is doing really well in the box office. Inside Out 2 did really well earlier this year. It really does seem like the sentiment surrounding Snow White is simply because of the movie doesn't look very good. They spent so much money making it. This article from Forbes that came out last month said as of the end of 2023, they spent $269.4 million on the movie. And that's before all the reshoots and other effects work they had to do this year. So the final total is probably around the $350 million range before they do marketing. That's why I'm saying, like, this movie likely needs to make $900 million at a minimum global box office in order to just break even. And it's really looking like that's probably not going to be the case, just going by the public reaction to this. But maybe he is right with this article, and maybe because it's so bad, everyone is going to go see it and go see it multiple times just to check out how bad it is. That's extremely unlikely, but maybe that's a possibility. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think all this bad PR is going to help them at least somewhat? Or do you think that this movie is just going to be a colossal failure for Disney? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.